Hi everyone, this is Fabian from Bleeding Comics. I'm pretty much continuing what I've been doing for the past couple of days. Sorry about that. I'm actually going to finish this one up a bit because I think it looks a little too flat. So what I'm going to do is go under the ink layer and grab my airbrush. Make sure I can see what I'm doing right now. Usually I have to take off my glasses when I'm working with this. Whoa. This little thing is overly sensitive sometimes. So, gotta go to keyboard shortcut. Let's try this again. Alright, that should work. You hear a lot of noise in the background. I do apologize for that. It's just area I live in. It's near a couple of what do I call it? Like a couple of main streets, so then it gets loud around here. Cars come by every few moments, and then you start hearing all that noise in the background. Like I said, this thing is overly sensitive, and when it feels like working, it works. And then it's a great tool. When it feels like working, it's a great tool. I actually don't know what happened with it, because when I had my old PC, it worked perfectly fine. I don't know what is it with the Bluetooth settings that it doesn't work as it should. See how this looks. Just keep disconnecting on me. So it's the most annoying thing, especially when you're like on a roll when you're doing something. That's when it decides like it wants to disconnect, and then it decides to work when it feels like it, right when I don't really need it. Since this is behind pretty much all the main artwork, it's just easy to give kind of like this little highlight kind of thing. I'm gonna try to see if I can get this thing to work or not. It's not responding, so I'm not gonna waste too much time with it, arguing with it. And let's see. Pull it a little bit. So got what I wanted. Fingertip, that's what I wanted. Just in case this character, she's an illusion psychic, so you don't always get what you see. So I think this is like a good representation of that. Put that there. Oh, now it's working. That's great. Let's see what we got. Okay, so pretty much she's done. And I'm moving on. So this was the first one I did. And these are all going to be gallery images on my website, bleedingincomics.com. I'm hoping to get the next two done by hopefully the end of the week, so that way I can put everything up. Now here comes the next guy. So how I've been doing with all the other ones, I start just, this is like a rough pencil. I do this on my iPad, and then I just transfer it over here, and then I do start with a red light pencil, to do actual more detailed work. As you can see with this image, he's facing forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower first the opacity on the blue, new layer, pencil. Make sure you always label all your layers, that way you know what you're doing. And this one is going to use the symmetry tool. Main reason is because he's facing front, and it just makes it a lot easier to do, especially when it comes to like the inking and stuff like that. One more time, my glasses off because I got to get in close for this. Hopefully, let me try to get the mic a little bit further back. If you guys can hear me, that's great. Just give me a heads up in case you don't hear anything. Yeah, sometimes I just start with the ears. Let's see. Just want to make sure everything is right where it should be. And again, this is just for me to do tighter pencils. That way I have better information to work with when I ink. I tend to work relatively quickly. At least when it comes to this part. Put that in there. This thing disconnected again, so I'm just going to stick to using the keyboard shortcuts if I can. Now, I'm not doing this part yet, or the rest of his hair yet, because that's not symmetrical at all. One thing I do recommend, it's important, it's always have character sheets. You're gonna need them when you're doing a lot of these comics. You have a lot of characters. So what I'm doing right now is I'm looking up his character sheet, because I gotta make sure I'm doing the right thing. There you go. So you guys can see it. Saying hi to everybody who's joining me. I'm trying to be more consistent with doing lives. I try to find any little moment that I can to get in. So this is not like a regular thing for me. Okay, so this I'm gonna put up here on my main monitor, so that way I can see what I'm doing in case I'm missing any information. You guys won't see the character sheet, but I am. But you don't really need to see all that right now. Just give you a little background on this guy. His name is Sujin Park. He's from Korea, and he is a sound psychic. Now, he doesn't generate actual sound himself. What he does, he absorbs vibrations. It could be anything from like what I'm experiencing right now, like loud city streets, and it can also be like if he's in a battle, like any impact he receives to his body, it's actually vibration based too, so he can use that. Now I'm gonna adjust something right here. So I'm not too happy with what I did right there, because I don't know if you saw it in the character sheet, but he has a kind of like a backpack on him. Oh, that's a really bad choice of a color right there. Let's see. I want to make sure it stands out, so I'm gonna pick a different color. That way I know where it is. And just do that. Yes, this is not like a pretty color, but I'm not going for pretty right now. I'm going for what's gonna work for me. Alright, trying to check his character sheet for a second. Put that down there. That's part of his backpack. Goes around. And that goes around there. Pockets over here. Give it some depth. And he has other pockets up here. I said this is more detailed pencil work compared to the blue line, but I still don't make it too tight. It's kind of rough. But for me, this gives me all the information that I need. Yeah, I keep looking up just to remember how to draw this guy, because I haven't drawn him in a long time. So now I gotta think. Deltoid, bicep, tricep. This connects elbow, forearm. It's kind of funny. I didn't study anatomy per se. When I was in high school, it was a kind of like a requirement for my gym class that we had to know the names of the muscle groups. Some sticked, some didn't, but I mean, high school, those are gonna go crazy. Now from here, I got that much done, so let me do that really quick so I know where my guidelines are. At this point, I'm going to turn off the ruler because nothing is symmetrical from this point forward. A little bit. I'm going to start up here with the hat. Has a crosshatch pattern on it. I'm not going too crazy about it, but need to make sure the hair fits right. Put that there. And now for the pants. So first things first, I'm going to do this part. Now, I'm not gonna go crazy about where the folds go for the clothes, all that stuff. Like, you're really super into that realism. That's good for you, but I want to keep line information simple. And I'm probably gonna black out this entire section. Plus his foot's behind him, so let me just do that really quick so I remember. That wasn't part of the initial. I'm trying to see something. Well, I'm gonna add a little bit of detail that's not in the actual character sheet just to give it some more. I'm gonna lower the opacity on the blue. It's kind of bothering me. Put that there. I kind of feel this should be fine. So, it's like a lot of stuff I taught myself to do just by seeing other artists, how their renditions are of certain things. And whatever I liked, I stuck with it. I didn't really go too crazy trying to emulate them. And doing homages is great. I've done that before in like short stories and other stuff that I've done for like panels that I like, but I don't think I ever try to go one for one on artists that I liked. So now I'm trying to just figure something out here. Just putting this in because I'm going to need this information later on. I think I need to hire moderators so I know what's going on. But, let's see. This is just really rough, so don't get too invested in what I'm trying to do right here. This is really just for me and what I was probably thinking of at the time when I was doing this. All right, so that's for that. That's pretty much done. That's everything with blue line off. Very colorful. From here, I'm going to move on to the inking part. Say it a lot, and I'm going to keep saying it. Always label all your layers and try to keep everything as clear as possible when you're trying to do it. Now, here's something that's kind of important that I discovered. Maybe somebody knew this, but this is something I found out. You don't have to create a new ruler set, especially with the way I'm doing things. I just have everything on the first layer with symmetry. So all I really have to do is just drag that icon into my new layer, the inks layer. And everything should be activated. I got to make sure I'm on the right layer. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's like right here. You can see the symmetry line. So I'm going to get right into it. And usually when I ink, I try to, stick as close to possible to what I was doing. But sometimes I feel like I can add a little bit more. Is to make sure it looks a bit better. Once again, this thing keeps disconnecting. I don't know why. But see the symmetry line? I'm gonna actually lower the opacity on this one so I can, it's not bothering me. I can see the lines. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Now you're probably thinking, well, why don't you just lock the layer? That's true. I should just lock the layer. Alright, I'm gonna lock both layers because I have a habit of jumping between stuff and then I miss what I'm doing. Like right here, I forgot to do that for the tighter pencils. Let me fix this up a bit. Probably gonna fix that later. I'm not gonna commit to it 100%. Here, if I want to, I can just do like a circle tool, but I'm gonna freehand it. Came out okay. Put that there. He's primarily a flyer also, kind of like Sam that I did a few days ago. And I've always found it funny that characters who tend to fly, a lot of them don't wear eye protection. And I just find that to be so weird. Okay. Rim of the beanie, whatever you want to call it. Let's see. Fix that a little bit. Go back to here. Fix it. Okay, so I'm gonna focus everything that is on the symmetry first before I go into anything else. Yeah, so I'm going back to flyers who have like no eye protection. Alright, Superman I get. But pretty much nothing hurts him. But other characters who are either not even flyers, I would say in general, like anybody who goes even with like speed in general, like that's their ability, and they don't have some type of eye protection. I always found it weird because I'm like, you're gonna get stuff flying into your eyes while you're going at, I don't know, like Mach 1, Mach 2, whatever the speed is. And you have all this stuff flying in. I don't know how you see where you're going anymore. That's why I found it kind of interesting. I'm trying to remember the name of the character that did wear, like he would put it on like, jeez. It's like on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember who it is. But it's like I always found it like such an interesting, like you're flying or you're running at such a high speed and you got all this stuff just coming at you, because even like I tend to ride my bike a lot when I gotta go to like local places, and there's certain areas like you can really pick up a lot of speed. So I've experienced it myself, like just going down those areas, like I have just stuff flying into my eyes, and I'm wearing glasses. So imagine not wearing glasses or some type of eye protection. You're going fast, and you have all this stuff like just flying into your eyeballs. I think, it was like Quicksilver from the X-Men movies when they kind of rebooted the whole timeline thing. Like, it was kind of cool that he actually did wear goggles every time he would run. at Young Justice when it was Kid Flash. Then they had Impulse a little bit later on. They wore goggles too. I think they applied it to the more recent Flash, like he has some kind of eye protection. There. Alright, leaving that for last. I'm trying to think of something. I gotta check the character sheet really quick because I don't know if this guy has a line on that collar or not. Yeah, he does. Okay. And that's that. Go back to the regular pen. That's there. Yeah, but kind of going back to what I was saying, you need eye protection if you're going to be moving so fast. Just a bit about this guy. He was kind of created on the fly. There wasn't really a plan for him, a plan for Grace, who was the image you first saw. Like, there was really no plan for them. They were just kind of created for the moment. When I was doing these specific chapters that they showed up in, and that kind of, because when I started Psychic Revolution, it was just very small rosters, like very specific characters that I wanted to use, and that I did plan out for it intensively. But these guys just came about, even like I don't like how that came out. Nah, I did not curse. Don't like get on my case. I said shoot. Let's see. Let me fix this up a little bit. You guys probably wouldn't notice it on a print, but I would remember. But like I was saying, they kind of weren't planned out to be anything important, and it kind of just snowballed that they took a bigger role in the actual coming chapters. And when I initially planned this, I didn't really have a concrete idea of what I wanted to do. I was just drawing to draw and kind of like creating on the fly. It wasn't until like maybe chapter 3 that I did start paying attention. Like, I had to really plan this out, because it started kind of getting out of hand. Like, I was doing more than I intended, and initially this was just going to be a really short story. It's just going to be probably 5 chapters long, and it basically became a 16 chapter story initially, and I'm currently working on the other ones. So just in case, let me see if this shows up really well, because sometimes it doesn't. Alright, glasses back on. So Psychic Revolution Volume 1, This basically covers the first 5 chapters. Oh, not working too good, but you get the idea. 5 chapters of the first story, and this is volume 2. Green cover on the green screen doesn't work, but you get the idea. Right there, it is a black and white comic. They're both on sale in the TikTok shop. You can get them individually, or you can get them in a special bundle for a low price. You can just check out the stories, follow my profile. And like I was saying, initially it would start out as just a 5-chapter story, which is going to be 5 chapters really quick, right to the point, ballooned to 16 chapters. And what it was is that I started realizing like I wanted to tell more of a story than an action set piece alone. Because you can do action. I'm not saying you can't do actions. You can't do just people brawling. But then if there's no actual story behind it, what's going on behind that action, then it's kind of like a dumb read. That's the only words I can think of right now. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with this. Like, yeah, I wanted to expand on the story as much as possible. I wanted to make sure that anybody who was reading it understood the motivations more. And as I kept doing it, basically, I just started getting more and more ideas on what I wanted to do. And then the characters that were probably just going to be somebody that showed up for one chapter or just like a couple of pages started being more of a mainstay. So that's what kind of happened with Sujin and Grace. I introduced them as just partners having to meet up with another character who was actually more vital to the story. And all of a sudden, they became important because they were there as support to him. But you can read all that stuff if you get my book. You'll see how it worked out. There's a little bit of dimension so it doesn't look too flat. Now I'm not going to put the full black right now on this boot. I'm just going to wait, because when there's certain details that I add, I make sure that I add it on a separate layer. Reason for that, and I've always mentioned it in my previous lives and other videos that I've done, you never know if it's gonna work the way you planned it. And unlike doing this, like to say, the traditional way, at least digitally, I can delete layers that aren't working. I can fix things that aren't working too well and redo them without having to worry about ruining the entire image. Okay, same thing with this leg. I'm not adding in any of the highlights right there yet. So kind of final look through to make sure things are connected. Like right here, I forgot to add in this detail. Okay. I'm not worrying about the background yet. I'm going to leave that for last. I want to finish him first. So I'm going to turn this off. That's pretty much all the line work. And from here, this is going to be something called a details layer. Wow, it got really dark all of a sudden. Let me get my light on. Alright, I think that's better. The weather's been kind of weird. It's been like sunny, then gets cloudy, then it gets cold, and then it gets warm. I don't know what to expect right now. So I'm gonna add some highlights to the boots. They're like leather boots. So what I use is just the lasso fill tool. I recently found out about this tool a couple of months ago, watching somebody else doing a piece. I was like, I did not know that. I've been doing this by hand the whole time. And leather is shiny. It has like this little, it's not perfectly, what's the word? It's like not perfect shapes. It's all these squiggly lines depending on the lighting source. Now for this one, since his foot is behind him, I'm just thinking of going, just doing black. Just like a completely black. But since this is on a different layer, I'm not doing it as a reference. I'm just doing it this way. I'm just gonna fill this in. Hopefully it's closed. It's not closed. See, that's what happens. Some of you guys are probably watching this like, oh, such an amateur thing to do. Well, never said I was a professional. I just like to draw, I like to make my comics. I want to share them. Alright, that's pretty good. So erase anything that might have stuck out. Fix this up a little bit. Now that's the one thing that this tool has been bothering me a lot with, is that it's become very sensitive with the new computer that I'm using. So you click one time and it takes it as if you clicked it a bunch of times. So it basically undid everything I just did here. Doesn't matter. Just quickly do it over. And add this in a little bit so it's a little more dimension to it. Make sure everything is on the right layer. Now he doesn't have a lot to do with details. I did forget to add something here. So forgive me, this might take it won't take long, but it might be boring to watch. I'm just gonna add in this type of cross hatching onto the straps of the backpack. And that should be good. Little tiny details I forgot to add in. see. But add these little button things here. All right. I'm just he tends to have a darker gray tone to him, so that's why I'm like debating if I should add in any type of shadowing, just so you guys can see this is what I'm talking about. Hair is easy, goggles are easy to fix. When I'm saying fix, I mean just easy to tone in. Everything else tends to be a little bit more difficult. So I'm just trying to see what colors match with what. Let me put you back up here where I can see you. And I'm gonna have to open up his file again, but I'm gonna have to put it right in here so this way I can grab the tones that I need. I'm gonna start with the arms since it's an easier one. Okay, so with mulch coloring, I'm gonna put it under all the ink layers and all that stuff. One more time, label it. I'm gonna lock the layers so that way when I'm doing something, I'm not gonna mess it up. Just so you know, it's always good. I always do the reference. Okay, reference stayed locked. That's good. Okay. And like I said, I was going to start with the arms. So the darker tone are the sleeves. This part here. The lighter tones are like these little details. Okay. The gloves are a lighter tone than what I used over here. Just slightly lighter, so I'm just going to adjust it here. That's good. Yeah, I'm just using the paint bucket tool because it's not a painting. It's just adding in those tones. Right, this is that color too. Whatever I don't get, let's do this. Okay. Just making sure everything is in. All right, let's move on to the jacket now. Jacket and pants. So I'm gonna do the pants first since that's the color that's up first. Just making sure I fill in every spot, no little white gaps. I should have like a colored layer in the back so that way I see what I'm doing. But I don't find that to be too necessary right now. I don't know if you noticed that, but when I did the little color switch, it was going crazy. Yeah, don't worry about it looking too dark. I'm gonna fix that. This is a very dark gray, but I'm not completely done with all the toning. I might have to just get a new tab tool. This thing is not cooperating with me at all. I did check my Bluetooth settings and all that stuff, but they say it's supposed to be like it might be interfering with something else, but I don't have anything else connected to this for it to be interfering that way. I messed up. It's really acting up a lot. Even when it comes to switching between the tones that I'm using, the color tones I'm using, it's going crazy. Alright, so I'm going to leave this part right here for later. Leave the boots for later. Okay, let me check the backpack. Character sheet was done 10 years ago. My goodness. Right, there you go. Sujin Pak, Sound Psychic Army uniform. Make sure I had everything named. I'm pretty organized when it comes to this stuff. Like, I don't like just making something and then just, oh Lord, I forgot about this part. This is gonna be a pain in the butt. Yeah, I should have done it in details instead of doing it on the actual ink. Alright, so this is gonna be horrible. Alrighty. Gonna do this the hard way. That's the only thing. You have a reference layer, it literally goes within whatever lines you have on that layer. So for instance here, I should have done this cross-hatching on my details layer, which would have made it separate from the ink layer that I'm referencing from. But because I didn't do that, I have to do this the hard way. There we go, going crazy again. Alright, I'll figure this out in a minute. There we go, now I decided to not be annoying. that. Yeah, his tones are darker than most others. It's kind of hard when you're doing this type of comic because the comic is supposed to be black and white, but with some toning. For the volume 4 that I'm working on right now, I'm cutting back on it a lot because it is time consuming. I mean, this is just one character, and I've been at this not really thinking about having to do the tighter pencils and then having to do ink, but just this part alone, it takes a while. And honestly, it's like the least favorite part for me in this whole process. Like I am not a fan of doing this at all. And if I had a good budget, I would hire somebody to do this for me. Well, people who do this charge a lot of money, and they don't charge. They don't. Most of them don't work on a flat rate. I know what I'm doing. Okay. Now the last part was. Okay, so no, I don't have to do that right now. I can do this. It's a smaller area, so this is fine for me to do it this way. All you gotta do is hold it down, and you can just go over the entire whatever area you need to do. Getting close for the little spaces that I missed. And there, that part's done. Now it's the goggles and the hair. Yeah, I still gotta fix a lot of little spaces that I missed. It's okay, you have the color selection tool. Saves you a lot of trouble. I mentioned it before. There was like somebody who was showing their process of doing comics, and they say I never zoom in because they want to make sure they can see the entire image. But if you don't zoom in, you don't notice all these little mistakes, and that's it. That's the truth. You won't notice it. Like, as soon as I zoomed in, I saw all the spaces that I missed. Fill that in. I've said this a couple of times too. Don't strive for perfection because it doesn't exist. There's always going to be mistakes. Best you can do, learn from those mistakes. That's how I've done it most of my time doing this type of work. So many mistakes. But I had to learn from them in order to get at least a little bit better. Well, 12:36. Well, I'm in New York, so 12:36 Eastern Standard Time. Been out there almost an hour. I was supposed to start earlier, but I had to get something done for work, and it took some time because it wasn't working out that well. See if I'm missing anything. All right, the last part is the hair. Kind of messed up there. Oh, I forgot to close the line, that's why. Time going in. Yeah, response time is slow on this tab too. It used to be so much faster on my old PC. Okay, I gotta fix something here. Let's close that line out. Alright, tone wise, he's kind of done. I just forgot two sections right here. See what I mean? It just like completely zoomed in without me even hitting anything. It just took it as a delayed command. Kind of embarrassing. Wrong layer. Sure, okay. Just let me double check, make sure everything's in the right spot. Yes, it is. Okay, tone. Alright, lock in the ink layer again. Little details I missed. Okay, so that part's pretty much done. Okay, for some reason it said my live was undetected. I don't know. This is such a weird thing. Well, then again, I'm kind of new at this stuff, so. Okay, so I have two options right now. I can get right into what the background is. which is why I kind of did this. It won't take me too long to do. I'm just thinking about what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. How many layers it might take. It might take like 2 layers, actually, now that I think about it. First things first, background. It's not going to be overly detailed or a complicated background. He's kind of just like breaking through a wall. Just like I always find when I have to do stuff like this that's not confined into being like geometrically correct. Like it can just be like squiggly lines, cracked lines, stuff like that. It's just more fun. Like you don't have to really think about it too much. You just gotta just know the general shape of what you want to do, and just do it. Alright, just making sure it's right. I did that initially because I want to have like a reference idea of how wide this is gonna be. I did make the bottom intentionally wider just to give it a little bit more depth into it. And the cool thing is, since I already got the tones on, I don't have to worry about this looking too messy because everything is going to be behind. This also, what I just did also kind of helps with the perspective in a way, without having to like worry about having to get like perspective lines drawn in. You can just do this. Now, if I was doing this kind of like on my own, no audience, no nothing, then I'll be like, okay, I gotta get perspective, yada yada yada. And I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna freehand it for today. So that's the first part. Now, definitely, let's see something. All right, I'm gonna save that for later. That. Yeah, I can undo it, but with the way my tab has been working, it's not great. I don't want to keep rushing on that too much. This is going to be just a really quick layer. And let's see, special ruler. Parallel lines. Hold down shift to get straight lines. I don't rotate my images all the time. I just do it every once in a while. Alright, that's good. I think I keep hearing my phone ringing. I don't know if it's me or not. I just keep hearing a beep in the background. Alright, let's do this now. I gotta keep talking or else this thing is gonna give me like another warning saying that there's no sound or that I'm off. Okay, so that part's done. Delete ruler, and I'm merging this with the original background. Okay, so I can turn this off. That doesn't have to be a reference layer anymore. Alright, that's good. Oops, wrong one. Turn that off. Okay. Lock in the inks. I forgot to tone something over here, so I'm going to do that really quick. Now here's the second background layer kind of thing that I'm going to do. I have to stand up soon. I'm starting to get tired of sitting down. But I need to finish. I need to see these lines. That was the fun part, just drawing debris. Doesn't have to be uniform, doesn't have to be too pretty. As long as it's all coming from the right direction, it'll work. Drawing debris is fun. I find this to be like the most relaxing thing you can honestly draw, because you don't have to worry about much of anything. It's just geometric shapes. They just have to work going in the right direction, especially since it's like the vanishing point's right in the middle. So I have to make sure that everything is look like it's coming from the right place. And I'm giving it like this solid black for a reason. I just want it to be already shadowed in. Alright, I can turn this one off now. tell, you're probably thinking like, well, now you got all those other lines going behind it. I'm like, I know. I have two choices. I can either erase what I don't need, like all the excess, that's why it's on a separate layer, or I can just do double tone. But then when you merge it, it's gonna overlap and you're gonna see the lines anyway. So I opt into just erasing what I don't need. I wonder if I have a caps lock on. No, I don't. So erase what I don't need. It's like a little donut hole in this one, so you have to see the background a bit. Again, erase what I don't need. If you have a hard time telling the difference between the lines, you can just lower the opacity. That's what I tend to do sometimes. And a little donut shaped hole, so I gotta keep whatever lines are in there. Fix this. See, that's one of the reasons it's good to lower the opacity, because then you can see what you missed. You hear that in the background? That's just my phone. I'm not gonna pick it up right now. It's important they leave you a message. I want to finish up what I'm doing. Messed up there a little bit. Got a little overzealous. Alright, and that's pretty good. The opacity out. Merge these two layers together so it's just one layer, one background. Now from here it's like kind of do I tone the background? Do I leave it just as black and white? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a line effect to the back so you can see everything's coming forward. So I have to go to line tool, and that's usually the one that I use the most. So center point is pretty much right here. See how this looks. Yeah, it's not bad. First time I ever get on the first shot. It's not too bad. Because then I have to add something else to it. So that's good. Now everything I gotta save. If you guys give me 1 second, I'm actually gonna check what that phone call was about, so I'll be right back. Alright guys, back. So yeah, what I'm gonna probably do with this, I'm just gonna lower the opacity just a bit. There we go, that's not too bad. I want to keep it like this. I was just thinking about erasing around the debris, but I just think it looks better. And okay, definitely this one is gonna go over everything because it's gonna be a new line. And like I said, his ability is sound, so I'm gonna be drawing the sound vibrations right now. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to special ruler, and it's gonna be concentric circles, which is like really the best way of doing this. Just in case you guys don't know, I just can't see at a distance, so me wearing glasses and trying to look at my monitor at the same time, it doesn't help. It feels like everything gets blurred, so I gotta take my glasses off when it comes to up close. That's like what I'm gonna do right now. So concentric circles, all set. And the thing about Sujin, like his power, it's based on absorbing sound. And then at a certain point, he can release it. The way I've written him is that if he doesn't release it at a certain point, it causes feedback damage. And I actually honestly think that's something that all creators should be aware of with their characters. Like, you gotta give them some type of fault, some type of weakness. Because if nothing really hurts them, nothing can really get to them, then they're boring. There's nothing that can beat them. So what's the point? They're unstoppable. And I think that was like one of the most brilliant things about the series One Punch Man, is that he was just bored because no matter what he did, what he faced, he was just able to always come out on top. He never found the challenge. He would purposely just try to do something that would bring him a challenge, and nothing could. Like he felt like I only saw the first season because that was the only season worth watching, because I think the story ran its course after the first season. There was no need to continue it. But I feel that he did what he set out to do, and that was it. That was in the story. Now I'm gonna play around with the layers on this a little bit, just so it can pop out more. Might turn this thing off. It's too much. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm not striving to make these things like overly done, because I can't even think of the word, but it's kind of like I want to get the idea across of what it's about, who the character is, what they're doing, and that's pretty much it. Right now, okay, so I have a good idea now about the lighting. Everything's coming from the back, so I'm just gonna add some quick shadows, quick highlights to him so he doesn't look so flat. That takes me a couple of minutes, not even minutes, probably less than that, because I don't go too crazy right now. That was like another thing that I had to change up on my style for the story. It's that I was going really overboard with like shadow and light and textures and all these things, and I had to like really tell myself that you're looking at this page maybe for 2-3 seconds because you're reading everything, so you're not going to really see everything that I put into it. You're just going to get enough that you know what's going on, but it's not going to be something like, oh, I have to stick to it so I can see, like, I'm going to break down every little line that was drawn, or why is the lighting this way, why is the shadowing this way, like, no. So I had to tell myself, like, all right, you gotta pull back a little bit, especially I'm doing this on my own, so even more so I have to make sure that I can do everything at a reasonable timeline and time frame. Okay, so I'm gonna get to the next one. What I'm realizing is I'm gonna have to fix a little bit about the blast effect. Like, I see it on his face, so let me fix that first. Shouldn't be covering his face, because everything else is coming out. Yep, everything else worked out amazingly. That's good. Okay, so let me get back to what I was gonna do. Alright, so I'm gonna start with highlights first. The layer I set up as overlay, and I'm just using the soft brush. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Let me see something. Don't tell me my pen stopped working. Alright, gotta make sure I'm on the right layer. Okay. I gotta double check. I think maybe my pen stopped working. So what I'm gonna do, let me go to tones really quick. Okay, pen is working. Alright, so I'm assuming that because of the tone I'm using, it's not accepting what I want to do. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm just gonna have to do it on a different type of layer. But let me go back to this because I have to redo this part again. Erase, 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 erase. There we go. Alright, yeah, I'm very smart. It turned out that I was still on the eraser tool. I didn't switch it to airbrush. Yeah, that's great. You're not gonna get this anywhere else, I swear. Okay, so let me get to what I was gonna do. Again, because light starts in the back, highlights are gonna be mostly around here. It's gonna almost just be like a halo around him. And again, I'm doing this so that it doesn't look flat, like it's the flat tone. Speaking of which, I don't know if you guys are into gaming or whatever, but I'm a casual gamer myself, and I was seeing that they announced like I think it's like a remaster or something of Persona. I don't know if it was 3 or 4. I can't recall, but they were showing the character portraits, and the main thing everybody was saying is like, where's the shadow? Where's the shadow? Not shadows of the game, but the shadow on the character profiles, because everything looks so flat. And that was kind of like, and they had a comparison. They had like the original version of the character portraits, and then they had the new character portraits, like the updated ones. And I was like, yeah, it's true. Like, what happened to all the shadow? They didn't add any shadows. They did like kind of like an airbrush thing, like I'm kind of doing right now. But for a AAA gaming company, and they literally took out the, what I would say, like the cell animation shadowing off, and just did like a very light airbrush shadowing on the characters, almost like an afterthought. Like they just remember, like, oh yeah, we got to give these characters some depth. It was, I don't know. Yep, pen is going crazy again. So a little bit more so it doesn't look too flat. I don't want to really add too much shadow because his uniform is pretty dark to start with anyway, but there has to be some type of balance to it. Yeah, I was saying, I had personally for me, I had to find a way to like tone it down a bit with my own comic. I don't want to, like, I want it to look nice, but I don't want to kill myself like doing too much, you know. Like, I want it to look right. I want it to look nice. Okay, so let me double check everything here. All right, so he's pretty much done. Yeah, hour and a half. Same thing like for Grace. I think Sam was quicker. Sam took me like an hour. Gotta save it. I think that's was one of the things I realized when I'm doing these lives. Like, I completely forget that I should be saving as I'm doing this, and that's really what can I say? Like, that's a big no-no. I have to remember that I have to keep saving over and over. And every time I do one of these lives, at the very end, I remember, like, I have not saved once. So everything that I did is just lost. And then I would have to do it all over again. But saved it right now. Okay. Take the lock off of these. So many layers for this guy. And I'm going to put it all in one folder. Make sure I'm writing his name right. Sujin. Okay, go back. Turn you off, turn you off. Alrighty. And I think let's do one last thing. Gotta sign my name somewhere. Probably right here. Wow, that pen is really thin. Go a little bit thicker. Let's see. There we go. And that's pretty much it for Sujin. Let's do one more thing. Turn off that ruler so I can see this better. So that's Sujin Pak, the Sound Psychic for Psychic Revolution. Again, Psychic Revolution Volume 1 is on sale in the TikTok shop. Psychic Revolution Volume 2 is also on sale. Let me see if I can get a good image. There we go. It's also on sale in the TikTok shop. You can get both as a bundle for $20. Or if you want to just read the first one to see, get a good feel for it, see if it's worth reading the second one, you can also do that too. Get individually or the bundle on the shop. You see, you guys can see the previous ones. So, Sam, first one, the Wind Psychic. I finally found the wind brush that I had. I couldn't find it anywhere, but finally got it. Grace Evans, the Illusion Psychic, which I was finishing up a bit more today because it looked a little bit flat. And finally, Sujin, the Sound Psychic, which was the one that was done today. And maybe today, maybe tomorrow, this is going to be the next guy, Roland Biggs, the Mender. Oh, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the next one.